and welcome to the Arcadia bus rally. We're about to start our technology and mobility session. We've moved it indoors to the rec center. We will be live streaming this over YouTube. I will be setting the iPad down momentarily, and we'll be fielding questions on technology and mobility from those who are here. And if you do have questions, go ahead and feel free to chat, type them into the chat screen. I can't guarantee that we'll get around to them. The priority, of course, will be the in-person folks. But if we can answer them, or if folks don't have questions for us here, then we'll default to whatever folks joining us will be asking. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up with a good view of the presentation. Hopefully the audio will be okay in here, and we'll get started here in just a few minutes.
Now that's high tech, Dave.
All right, I'm trying to, I don't know if the sound will pick up over here. Okay, internet, can you hear my voice over here? Let me know before you. Could you hear me over there at the table, Bus Warrior? Or should I move the iPad over to the table? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to move it over to the table. I don't want it to be faint. There we go. That should work. Move over this way. Is that any better, Bus Warrior?
Still early. We can't start yet. Let's make this.
All right. I guess we'll just go ahead.
We're 2 minutes early still.
We're still early?
Yeah, we got 3 minutes. In case the people are still running around.
So just so you know, we're, the iPad is recording this, and we're live streaming this to the internet over cellular signal.
How many people are tuned in?
Currently, we've got 3. Bus Warrior is tuned in, so if anyone would like to say hello to him, you can wave to him now. Wave.
He's unable to be here this year for, I'm sure he has a good reason.
It's going on Ustream, and then once it's done, I'll export it to our YouTube channel so people can watch it later without commercials. So,
Ustream puts in commercials, but they let you do it for free.
So yeah, we like free, and then YouTube will let us. Then they'll export it for free to YouTube without commercials. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Who did it last year?
Bus Warrior.
Bus Warrior went around last year and did the whole. He live streamed the whole thing. We're not that endeavorous. We can't live up to his awesome service last year. But we get a lot of questions. I don't know who follows us or not, but we're Technomadia. We're full-time RVers. We live in the 4106, the blue and silver one out there by the front entrance. And that's our full-time home and has been for a year and a half. But we've been on the road nearly 7 years now. And we work online. We're software developers. So as long as we have internet, we can work anywhere we go. And we've been doing that.
And so I guess now official time. So the first thing I want to really say is we're not selling anything. We don't have
Except for the stuff in the table.
Well, it's actually some of the stuff that we have to show and tell is from our swap table. But we're not selling anything. We don't have a book, seminar stuff.
No agenda.
We're not trying to sell you batteries. Last year we presented on our lithium battery system, and afterwards people were like, so did you sell a lot this time?
We just share.
We've gotten so much help from the bus community. The bus community is so fabulous, us giving us bus advice and help with picking our bus and working on our bus and everything. So we like to give back by the things we've done. So the advanced electrical system, the lithium batteries we put in our bus, and then all of our tech knowledge and mobile internet knowledge, we just share it back because we've got it and we can answer questions and help people out. And so some people have come to this before and thought we had an angle, we're going to sell them something. We're not selling you anything.
So we're just here to share. We use Macintosh computers, so Apple is our primary. We do iPads, MacBook Pros, Minis. We've got a pretty extensive office setup over in the bus, which we're welcome to go do tours of that. So if you've got questions about getting internet on the road,
generating electricity on the road.
Generating electricity. We've done solar installations. We also have a lithium-ion battery bank in the bus, which we can go back to the bus later, and we have the awning out. We can give tours of the lithium bank. So any questions you guys have? I've got one hand up already.
Who's your internet provider?
Cool.
All right, so that's a good starting place. We'll go ahead and we'll do an overview of our internet setup for you. We believe in
diagram picture too.
Yeah, bring up the little diagram. Our internet setup is pretty expensive because we rely on it. It's a primary living expense for us, probably more important than beer and wine. We're right around there. So if we don't have internet, we can't work. If we can't work, we can't pay to travel. So we put a lot into our internet setup. So our primary connection online is cellular. We believe in redundancy. There is no single best carrier across the U.S. for a full-time traveler, so we find a combination works best for us. For us, we found the combination of Verizon and AT&T. When we combine both of those coverage maps together, we have pretty decent odds of being able to get online wherever we've been. And in some places, Verizon is better or faster or has a better connection. Some places, AT&T is better. Like here, we're hardly able to get online with Verizon, so we're relying solely on AT&T is fast enough for us to be streaming this live to the internet. So between the two, we usually do very well with them. We do have a boosting system in the bus, so we have antennas on top of the bus that then have a repeater inside that then can rebroadcast the signal inside to help us get a more weaker signal. Because our buses are metal, they're Faraday cages, so they block cellular signal and Wi-Fi signal. So a lot of times a boosting system and our antenna system on top of your bus can help a lot to get a better signal inside of a bus. Sticks and stables RVs, that's not as much of an issue, but definitely found in the bus that having an antenna system for both Wi-Fi and for cellular works really well for us.
So I'm about to bring up a diagram. We just did a very long blog post on basically outlining how all of our system ties together, all the antennas and everything else. And
you go to technomadia.com/internet.
Illustrated mobile internet gadgetry for our kids. There we go. Bring this up and make it big.
And everything we talk about with internet, we probably have a blog post on it. That I think we just did a 7,000 word post on it. So we have lots of information.
So this is, you be able to take a closer look later and stuff, but I can kind of give you a little bit of a show and tell, point to the dots so you can take a closer look. So there's our bus. On top of the bus, we've got a little white box called a Wi-Fi Ranger.
We got the Sky.
It's a Wi-Fi Ranger Sky. It's a Wi-Fi extended range antenna, so it can pick up Wi-Fi hotspots from substantially down the road, or from the front of the campground. The campground office has Wi-Fi. We're in the back. We should be able to pick up Wi-Fi. A lot better than a laptop inside a metal box to be able to do. That's a really, really useful thing to be able to do.
Or if the Starbucks next door has Wi-Fi, sometimes we can, or a library, or somewhere where there's an open hotspot, sometimes we can get a Wi-Fi signal that we wouldn't. We like to work from our bus. We prefer not to have to take the laptops into a library or something to get work done. So that allows us to work in the bus by having that extended Wi-Fi range.
Right. So that goes down to another little box inside the bus. It's got wiring going down to something called Wi-Fi Ranger Go. It's this other little white box. It's a router and Wi-Fi hotspot. So it'll take the signal from the roof, take the signal from any sort of cellular connection we have, and then it'll make its own hotspot inside the bus. So we've got, bringing the camera over.
Yeah, let them see too.
They can go see on the website and see it even better. But
yes, you guys online, go to technomadia.com/internet for the cheat sheet.
So the Wi-Fi Ranger Go can do the same thing as the one on the roof because it has a stronger antenna than most laptops will. It'll pick up a signal and then rebroadcast its own signal, make its own hotspot inside the bus. But having something on the roof takes it much, much further than just a little box inside you can do anyway. So the two of them work hand in hand. They sync together with the wire and they work as one unit. So that gives us our extended Wi-Fi range. For our extended cellular range, we've got two things we do. One is kind of more traditional, but Wilson is really well known for their cellular boosters. There's also a company called Top Signal that is the one we have. It's a Top Signal 55.
Right.
That is a 3G cellular booster that will has an antenna on the roof, then has an antenna inside the bus, and it'll take the cellular signal from the roof, amplify it, and rebroadcast in the bus. So every phone inside the bus gets a better 3G signal as if it was standing up on the roof. And it works pretty well.
And more importantly, is when you're in motion and driving, it resets for each tower. As it changes towers, it resets and gets the best setting. So it works really well while you're underway. So if you need a good cell signal while you're driving to stay in touch, or sometimes I'll be working in the front seat while he's driving.
And that was the main reason we picked it. Is the Wilson boosters are also really, really good. But the Top Signal was the only one that had the live tuning. We used to have a Wilson booster in our former rig, and as you move and the cell signal changes, the Wilson will go in an overload mode, and it'll stay that way until you unplug it and plug it back in. So it worked great. We actually in the trailer where we had it, it didn't really matter. But underway, it's really nice to have the Top Signal. The one downside of the Top Signal and of every other cellular booster at the moment is that it doesn't do 4G data. So 4G is the new cellular data standard that is as fast as your cable modem or DSL or anything you have at home. It's as fast
you might
as
hear your carriers describing it as 4G or LTE. Is the other one, like Verizon is rolling out LTE. The LTE's there's all this mumbo jumbo technology. It's all marketing, really.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got another very long post that explains all the details of what 4G is about, and I can answer your questions. I used to work in the cellular and mobile industry, so I know all this stuff way too intimately. But 4G is crazy fast. When you're in an area with 4G, it's as fast as you would ever have at home. It's great. You can do all sorts of stuff. You can watch HD videos. None of the boosters support boosting a 4G signal yet, except for two. There's the Wilson Sleep 4G, Verizon, and then the exact same model that does AT&T. So they're network specific. This will boost 3G signals and everything else, not nearly as powerfully as the Top Signal, but it is the only boosters out there currently that will boost 4G.
But it'll only do one device at a time.
So whatever is slipped into here, whether it's a phone or a device like a MiFi, a little Wi-Fi router like this, you just slide it in here. This has got an antenna that goes up on the roof also. This passes the power on, so you power the booster, and then this powers your MiFi. And then this gets a 4G signal boost. And this is particularly useful because a little device like this, inside a metal bus, you have to find which window to stick it in to get a signal. As opposed to, with this, well, the antenna's up on the roof. So we can just leave this in the closet, have the antenna up on the roof, and we've got the Wi-Fi boosted
We've done measurements with and without it and have seen significant signal gain with it. So much so that it's gone from being an unusable signal to one that we can actually get online, check our email, check in with our clients, maybe even get a video chat in with the parents to say, hi, Mom and Dad, we're live.
And so question?
Do you hardwire the antenna to the booster? Is it hardwired in the antenna to the booster?
Yeah, I've got a wire running through the wall and up and out on the roof, but you don't have to. It's actually the antenna that it comes with is a magnetic stick antenna, so you can make it portable.
But you need a wire. You have to have a wire going from the antenna to the device.
You need the physical wire. But then actually change it's just easy to unscrew it and change it around, so we play with different antennas. A lot of people have big kind of like trucker style antennas or other antennas that are optimized for 3G. Those don't actually work for 4G. The 4G's different frequencies that aren't picked up by the big tall antennas. So the best antenna at the moment that picks up 3G and 4G is actually just a tiny little nubby antenna is the best one we found so far that we have on our roof, and that all came together.
The magnetic one or?
Right. It's a magnetic one, so great for buses.
About 6 inches tall.
I think ours is more like 4 inches.
Yeah, there's about a 6-inch tall version. Ours is about 4 inches. The company that we were very impressed with, there's several companies that resell Wilson stuff.
So there's 3G Store, which a lot of people have heard of. They sell the equipment. They're fantastic with their customer service. There's
PowerfulSignal.com. They're in
Utah.
In Utah. They've been absolutely fabulous. They're former full-time RVers, and
so we call them up every so often and say, hey, give us the scoop on what's new.
What's the newest, what's the latest, what antennas do you recommend, what have you tested, what's all this stuff doing? And so they've been absolutely fabulous to work with, and they know their stuff, so they're great to call for help or just email for help. So that's the cellular booster side of things. And we hope at some point there'll be something equivalent to the top signal that will amplify everything in the bus and be really powerful and do 4G, but that doesn't exist yet. So if you want 4G boosting,
there's some in testing, and it has to go through FCC regulations to be approved to be marketed. And there's a lot of red tape for the companies.
Well, it's also very, very complicated to boost 4G. But the Wilson does boost 3G for everything. So this will only boost 4G for Verizon. This is the Verizon model, but it'll boost 3G for every network. And so it's a great all-around booster. And these are only $99, I think, or $109. Yeah, they're a great deal.
Was that wire?
What?
Coaxial or fiber?
It's a coax wire. I didn't bring it. All the antennas are mounted on the roof, so I don't have them here for show and tell. But it's a really thin little coax is what's currently running. No. The Wi-Fi Ranger on the roof is actually connected to Ethernet. So it's got an Ethernet thing. The Wi-Fi Ranger Sky that does the Wi-Fi boosting on the roof has an Ethernet wire that comes down from the roof and goes into our little wiring box. So then
aside from, so we've gone over Wi-Fi, boosting, cellular, and if none of those work, we also do carry with us a satellite dish on Hughes network on a tripod that we can deploy, and as long as we can get a view of the southern sky, we can do that as well. We haven't used it in over a year. It's generally only useful for us when we're out west, where there's big patches of no cellular signal. If we're out boondocking or dry camping, we'll use it more than. We've been East Coast for the last year or so, so we haven't needed that as often. It's a bit of a royal mess to get them activated because Hughes doesn't officially support their dishes being mobile. They want you to be certified and trained to set them up and aim them to your satellite. So you have to go through kind of a bit of a training to do it.
It's a gray area to do tripods, data satellites. There were actually, I don't know of any companies that are left that are still selling the tripods, but they're basically just survey tripods, surveyor's tripods that you can aim really precisely, stick the dish on it, get it up there and aim. But you can find a lot of them used because as cellular signals spread around, a lot of people who are using satellite for internet, it's more trouble than it's worth. So there are people that are literally giving away full-on satellite systems. I've even seen somebody, if you want to be fully official, you get a Motosat, one that mounts on the roof and robotically, and that's official and supported. I've even heard of somebody giving away a Motosat system completely free because they didn't need it anymore and they couldn't find any buyers to take it. So satellite got a lot of limitations, but when you're in the middle of nowhere and you're online, you do have gains.
It is great. It's latent, so because you're shooting to a satellite up in space,
23,000 miles away.
There's a delay from the time that you type something in to it gets up to the satellite and returns the data back to your computer. So it can be a little bit slow. I recommend wine to go along with it. Put in your command, drink a sip, go back to work. For people that need to be online for work, if you're needing to shell into a server, if you're playing a game that requires a lot of interactivity with it, video chat can be really annoying with it. It's kind of like doing ham operations. You got to say over because
otherwise
you're going to be talking on top of each other. So it's a little annoying, but if that's your only option to get online and it allows you to enjoy a beautiful view for another day or two, it can be pretty cool. So that's our internet setup.
And so we didn't mention the little Wi-Fi device.
Oh, the Wi-Fi
People have not seen the different ways to get a computer online. There's things like this USB sticks. You plug it into a USB port or into a router. Like this is a Cradlepoint router that'll take that and make this into a Wi-Fi hotspot. Our Wi-Fi Ranger router in the bus, which we now use. This was our old one. Also has a USB port. You plug a USB stick in, and it takes the cellular signal via the USB stick and makes a Wi-Fi hotspot for you. Some computers have EX card slots that you could slide a card like this in.
That's when we started out with 6 years ago.
And so this is a Sprint 3G card that'll plug into a computer. And if your computer no longer has an EX slot, then this turns it into a USB, so you can use it just like this. Just a little bit bulkier.
Right, and then the other option these are newer, you hear them called MiFi. It's got the cellular card in it as well as it's its own Wi-Fi router. So it's an all-in-one device. It's battery operated so that you can take it with you. If you want to go take it down to the lake and sit at a picnic table, you can take this little guy with you, or it can plug in and be charged from the wall. We get our service, so I told you we're with Verizon and AT&T. Our AT&T we get via our iPhones. So we have the mobile share plan, so we get tethering or hotspot as they call it. So we can get that online, the computers online through our phones. We get our Verizon service, we don't actually get it directly from Verizon. We get it through a reseller named Millennicom. They resell it, so when you go with Verizon, you pay like $60, $70 a month and you get a 5 gigabyte limit, which 5 gigs is usually going to be enough if you're just checking email, surfing the web, researching your next campground or something like that. That's probably going to be enough, but you're also signing a 2-year contract with Verizon when you do that as well. Millennicom, they both buy bandwidth. They buy it from both Sprint and Verizon, and then they resell it. So with the Verizon plan, you get a 20 gigabyte limit, and that's a soft limit. If you go slightly over it, they're not going to give you a big charge, or they're not going to kick you off the network. There's no contract, so you can go month to month with them, and it's only, I think we pay $69.99 a month. There's no extra taxes or fees on top of that. Our actual bill every month is $69.99. So that's a lot more flexible for us. And you can also suspend it from time to time. So if we're somewhere where we've got great Wi-Fi at a campground, we'll actually turn this off, the service off for our length of time that we're there, and saves us some dough.
So Millennicom is fabulous. The one catch with Millennicom is because they're reselling other people's service, they're not allowed to say we're reselling Verizon.
Right. Notice Verizon has on here, but if you take this little sticker off,
it says Verizon.
It says Verizon underneath it, and when we load this little guy up, it actually comes to the boot screen says, "Welcome to Verizon."
Yeah.
So
it's kind of an open secret. If you talk to Millennicom support and say, "Hey, I want to make sure I get your plan that has Verizon coverage."
No. They can't directly answer that
No,
question.
they can't. They've answered it for me.
Okay.
They can't advertise on their site. They can answer it in tech support.
And they have another plan. You'll go on there, and you're going to say, "Oh, they have an unlimited plan for the same price. That's better. Cherie was telling me bad stuff. I should go for the unlimited one."
Yeah.
That one's with Sprint.
Right. So their plans right now, they change every something. Their 3G, 4G hotspot plan is this 20 gigabytes a month on Verizon's network with LTE speeds.
And Verizon has the widest amount of coverage across the country. They have the most LTE coverage, the fastest right now. They are rolling out about 30 to 40 cities a month of LTE. We're actually parked somewhere. Their coverage map didn't show it yet, but yet we're getting LTE on this thing because they just rolled it out. So
and AT&T as well.
AT&T is also they're competing right now.
Right.
We actually write apps for the iPhone. That's one of our side hobby businesses, and we wrote an app that compares all the coverage maps for all the major carriers. So we track the coverage maps pretty closely. We mainly wrote the app for ourselves because we wanted to know, and then we sell it to others, and they like it. So that's our overview of cellular and Wi-Fi and internet on the road. Are there any questions about it?
We have Sprint on our phones.
Yeah.
How do you like Sprint around the country or wherever you go?
So Sprint is kind of in this awkward spot of there's these two main 4G technologies. There's WiMAX and then there's LTE. Sprint went with WiMAX and everybody else went to LTE, and now Sprint's changed their mind and realized they need to go with LTE. So Sprint's 4G network is currently mostly WiMAX, but they're not expanding it at all. They're starting to replace it with LTE, so they're kind of starting from scratch. So Sprint's coverage, and this is what our app does. It shows you, lets you see, there's Sprint's coverage map. That's Sprint's LTE areas. You'll have to get closer to take
Little tiny dots across the country. They're just starting to roll it out.
That's Sprint's older 4G. And then if you look at Sprint's 3G, it's mostly just along highways. So Sprint gives you, once you get off the beaten path at all, you drop down to really slow speeds, and you're roaming, actually, you're probably roaming onto a Verizon network at slow speeds, and if you use more than 200 megabytes, Sprint will cut off your service roaming for the rest of the month. It won't tell you you're roaming, but you're actually roaming, and then you'll get a notice from them.
So Sprint is great if you're sticking mainly to urban areas and interstates.
Right.
And if you are, they are the last the last major network where you can get an unlimited data plan.
Right.
So if you are going to be mainly in urban areas, Sprint is a great way to go. I mean, but if you want to have more flexibility and stay online, I would recommend Verizon and or AT&T.
In our house, we have Sprint, and we couldn't get a signal really.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to get rid of them, and they said, no, we'll send you this antenna that goes to your computer, and it amplifies the signal.
Oh.
There's one spot where I live 6 miles away from here, where Legoland is, and I have a business where I have to take credit cards.
Right.
And it's horrible to pick up the signal for they tell me the tower, because later Lane came in and using all his phones and they were fixing it. I don't know. I was wondering how that is spread around the country.
Sprint is in distant third place as far as overall coverage is. That's
and reliability.
Yeah. But so the general trade-off is Verizon's way ahead when it comes to overall network size and particularly overall 4G LTE speed size. But then you got AT&T. AT&T's 3G is much faster than Verizon's 3G, and there's more of it. So when you compare like 3G speed, suddenly AT&T is way ahead of Verizon. And then Sprint, well, they know they're way behind, so they have the only place that still lets you have unlimited data. You can use all you want, you're not going to get an extra bill. And then T-Mobile is the next major national carrier. They're way behind. They were trying to get bought out. They're now doing both unlimited data and they're cheaper than everybody else, but your coverage map is much more limited. So you've got your trade-offs between all of them.
Right.
For us, the ultimate is having two. That gives you the best.
We have a fault because we depend on it as we're traveling. But when you look at a coverage map, it doesn't guarantee you're going to get coverage. There's so many different, a building in between you and the tower can block your signal. How many people are on that tower can degrade how fast you're getting online or if you can get online. Weather can affect it. If you're in a metal tube that we call a bus, that can affect it. Or barn or something like that. So, there's so many different factors besides if the map shows that you should have coverage or not. So there's a lot of factors that can impact it. So we like having multiple networks as we travel so that, if one doesn't work, we go to the next. If that one doesn't work, we go to the next. If that one doesn't work, we break out the line.
We drive down the road and find something, or we just drink the wine.
You go to wine.
I've got some time when you're driving and you're talking on the cell phone in the car and you pass the tower and it drops.
Because you're switching towers. Because when we are being handed off from one tower to the next,
if the next tower doesn't have capacity, or if there's too many people on the next tower, when you're coming into it, it'll just drop you. There's nothing they can do. It's depending on the network. A lot of them are a lot more reliable, but it's kind of in some ways miraculous technology. You think just 20 years ago, this was like all fantasy, sci-fi, science fiction stuff, and now you can get internet in your pocket that's faster than existed in the world.
And we can stream live video to the internet, from inside a building.
Yep.
Well, I don't really have a question. I probably will, but I just wanted to mention that we're using the Monicom service.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
But it's internet only.
Right.
Oh yeah. Monicom is internet only.
It's not a phone.
Right.
You have to have some other service to get your cell phone.
Right.
Yes, Monicom is data only.
So I think that's kind of the general gist of getting online on the road. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in the diagram. We've got on the diagram is like all the other stuff we have connected in our bus. Yes, I know. I haven't done it back up in a couple of days. Go with me. Yeah. That's
our overview of internet on the road.
And you notice we include a box of wine on our internet connectivity chart because it is really, when you're mobile, no matter what you do, there will be days that it's just frustrating and it's not going to work, and you got to be ready for that, and that's where the wine comes in handy.
Or a good view, or a good
walk. Going
walk.
for a great walk. It's like, okay, I can't get any work done today. It's not critical. I'm just done. Go walk.
So what is the best box wine you've found?
We like
Photobox.
We like Photobox, and we like their Old Vine Zim. That's our favorite.
Any other general internet connectivity, tech-y questions like that?
So all the stuff that you have, you talk to log?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got our card. The card's over there on the table. It's a current article. I think we wrote it just about a month ago. So it's
you can go home and look it up and say, well, I want to do this. What to buy.
Yep. We got links to stuff. It's all our research of all the things we've tracked down. So and then once you digest it, if there's any other further questions, please we try to help everywhere we can.
Can you do bread and butter work while you're disconnected? Or do you require connection?
A little bit of both.
We do a little bit of both. So we're software developers. So all of our tools are local on the computer. So there's a lot that we can do for developing the code. We do graphic design, writing, video production. We do a wide range of stuff that we can do. So the connectivity as far as needing to be online to do work is actually somewhat limited. We can do that in bursts. However, some of our clients have us on contract to be available for support, and so we do need some sort of connectivity. Now, I do have a virtual help desk, so someone else who is always in one spot answers the phone and does the general email support for me, and then can get in touch with me. So but because we have some major clients, we do have to be within a day's of being. We have to be able to check it at least daily, make sure there's no fires, no servers gone out, things like that. But yeah, most of we work in spurts too. We'll usually, if we have a big project that we're working on, a client hired us to develop an app for the iPhone for them or a web app for them or something like that. We'll usually go and find ourselves an RV park in a major metropolitan area with good cellular, good Wi-Fi, and we'll just hyper-focus. We'll go work 12, 15-hour days, 7 days a week.
Do it for a month.
Do that for a month and get the project done. And then we'll take 3 or 4 months of just doing maintenance, those sort of stuff. So we prefer working in bursts like that.
And the nice thing is you can even get internet even on cruise ships. So we went on two different cruises this month.
That's why you've got breaks.
That's why I got breaks. You get an island, it's mandatory. And we were able to get spend 15, 20 minutes a day online, staying on top of things that we needed to while on a cruise, which is great. You can still manage to keep on top of your living, making a living that way.
Last year, somebody at the rally was providing hotspot area.
They were charging us $10 or something.
Is that happening?
I haven't heard of it.
I need it because I don't have internet, and I can't live without it. I need at least an hour.
I think it's
Everybody's locked, everybody's secured, so I was looking for somebody else.
So the person who asked about...
we're not set up to do that.
We're kind of like he is. I'm going to have someone that 99% of them are running.
Yeah, that's like Prime McDonald's or Panera is usually really good. And
Well, does have another horsepower like a wood.
I think who was doing it last year was Tom Mason over in Whitey. I don't know who's doing it.
He said, I talked to him.
He's right next to the pole.
He said he can hook you up.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. We had a question about the Wi-Fi pack from here. They're asking if it could be run off a single charge for 24/7. No, it's about a 2 or 3 hour.
I think it's about 4 hours of use.
So the battery in here, if you want to be disconnected and take it all hiking with you or something, it'll only receive signal and broadcast out for about 3 or 4 hours, depending upon 4G takes a lot more power than 3G. So you can always dial it back to 3G if you need to conserve power on it.
I don't think we really worked clear about it. Is phones and iPads that have a shared data plan that also lets you create hotspots. Because the iPad has got such a huge battery in it, I've seen tests that when the screen's off and it's acting as a hotspot, you can do 24 hours of it being a hotspot completely disconnected because it's all battery.
Right.
When the screen's
so
off,
my iPhone, we frequently will tether off the iPhone. That's what we're doing here because we're AT&T is the service that we're able to get back here. I kind of set it up as a hotspot sometimes, and I'll be surfing, and about 2 or 3 hours later, everything drops because the battery died on this thing. So we've learned to keep these plugged in when we're
that's why if you want to tether it that way, plug it in, and it'll make now my laptop is online as soon as I plug that in.
Do you know if you can use the iPad in the Millennicom service?
No.
No.
Well, I mean, if you can buy Millennicom on this and connect it by Wi-Fi through this, but no, you cannot activate an iPad on Millennicom. Their Verizon plans, this is the only device that they support.
The Novotel Wi-Fi from Millennicom.
Yes, you buy this device from them.
Yeah, via Wi-Fi.
This creates a Wi-Fi hotspot, and when you're on 4G, it can connect up to 10 devices. So laptops, iPhones, iPads, Kindles, tablets, notebooks, netbooks, whatever, laptops, whatever.
Is it secure? Is it encrypted?
Yes, it's encrypted, so you give it a password, and that's why you see the little padlock on all the Wi-Fi networks and stuff.
What if you don't have a 4G? What if you're not getting a 4G signal?
It goes to 3G, then down to 2G, and
it scales down.
iPad will still
Yeah.
When you're on 3G with this device, it can only do 5 devices. That's the only difference, and that's a limitation, I think, for they wanted to control tower loads, I think is what I
Well, it's more they just want to try and control the user experience, because
right.
in 3G, particularly Verizon 3G, you're already at a point that it's slow. And if you've got 5 people trying to use one 3G connection, it's going to be very, very painful. So,
Just probably Dom, crazy question, but do you ever see, instead of us carrying satellite dishes like DirecTV, they'll come to the internet, instead of carrying a satellite dish?
Well, we get all of our TV only online. We don't have it. We have an antenna. I think we can get local.
We use it for local news, but yeah, we stream our television. We get our television via Netflix.
On this iPad. Now, I've got a rare iPad, and the reason I'm able to do the streaming on it is we bought the very first iPad that came out 2.5 years ago, and for a 2-month period, AT&T offered an unlimited data plan with it for $30 a month, and as long as we kept paying it, it's grandfathered in. So I've got grandfathered in unlimited data on this, and I've been able to bring it forward. So this little mini now gets LTE. And so we can get NBC and ABC and all the major networks have an app for the iPad. So we get most of our TV through this.
Yes. But that wouldn't work for most people because
you can't
watching video is what will eat through your data faster than you can say anything. So you'll then, particularly if you're on a Verizon or AT&T data, as soon as you hit the limit, they start charging you overage of $15 a gigabyte. So you watch TV for a night, and that might cost you $20, $30.
Which is a lot better than 3 years ago. It cost you about $2,000.
Yes. The overages used to be insane. Where if you hit the limit, it was literally you could click buy in iTunes and download a TV series, and I worked out the math once that buying one season of a TV show would cost you $2,000 if you were on Verizon.
Right. So if you have an unlimited internet data source, you can do a lot of your TV watching online on your schedule with limited commercials.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not much of TV people, so we tend to buy. Our favorite way though is we'll just go on Amazon. We'll buy a season of whatever show we want to watch, and then we have a Blu-ray player, and we just watch it in there. And then when we're done,
we sell the show.
We just sell it back, and it ends up costing us maybe $3 or $4 to basically rent the whole season.
In high res.
It's interesting you said that Verizon isn't very strong here. Now, my Verizon Air Card is the strongest it's been the whole trip. But does that have something to do with the amount of G's? I have a preference site. I have trouble turning on a computer.
Okay.
So
where are you parked?
over on the...
Yeah, I'm turning it on now. I'll see what the signal is in here.
That's the strongest full bars I've ever had in the trip on the Verizon.
Great sucks here. That's what we got.
Yeah. We travel. I have the Verizon Air Card, and I have a Sprint phone, and the wife has an AT&T phone. And Verizon, by far, usually...
In a lot of places, yeah.
The Sprint bars aren't bad.
Cellular,
but the internet is very bad.
Yeah.
When I called them when we first got here, they claim there's an outage on the tower.
They tell you that.
And it would be 72 hours before it was tonight. So
I'm getting poor signal, so you were lying to me earlier.
Where the tower was down when we were testing earlier.
Yeah, but it is only 3G here.
So.
I don't want to take up everybody's time with an individual question, but I have a Sprint USB.
This is
the Novotel 720, a little bit larger than that.
Okay.
And I would really love to be able to have more than one computer work on it. So I would have to have something like that Cradle-based router.
This is exactly what you would need, and it's in our car sale mix because we've got a Wi-Fi ranger now. So
if you want one, it's cheap.
I'd be very interested.
Okay. Yeah. The Cradle Point is one of the main brands that does these sort of Wi-Fi routers.
This one's older. This is the one we started out with.
It was the smallest model.
Yeah, we like it was small and it can be.
It's like the USB device in the back.
Right.
And both my laptop and my husband's laptop are shared.
Yeah, basically those two together equals one of these.
Right.
It's a router and the cell phone, the cellular data card, all in one. Powered.
And the Cradle Point is a great company. They do this, and then this company Wi-Fi Ranger, which is kind of trying to Cradle Point's main business is businesses, and actually most of their products now are like things like how red boxes get online. They've got a little cellular antenna behind them and stuff. Cradle Point provides routers for cash registers and red box type things and all sorts of stuff. their consumer stuff has always been kind of a sideline, but Wi-Fi Ranger is going specifically after RVers with a box that's much bigger than this, but it's a bigger router box. You plug your USB thing into it, and then you can also
rebroadcast the Wi-Fi.
It'll also work with something on your roof or its own Wi-Fi antenna, and then it'll try and pick the best signal of whether it's getting Wi-Fi, whether it's getting cellular, and do all that with a fairly user-friendly interface. So Wi-Fi Ranger is a great company. Their basic product is $99 or $90.
Yeah.
What's our coupon code? Technomadia.
I don't know. If they gave us a coupon code, you could pay 5%.
We don't get a kickback or anything from Wi-Fi Ranger. They're fans of our site, so they said, hey, anybody who also is a fan of your site, you can give them the coupon code.
It's in the post.
Yeah, it's down here someplace.
It's at the bottom of it.
Okay. Yeah, there it is. WFR Techno, and it's on the blog post about all the parts. Gives you
a 5%
discount on anything at WiFiRanger.com. And actually, this is partially from our suggestion. Wi-Fi Ranger now has a deal with Millennicom, where they're reselling. If you order the Millennicom service through Wi-Fi Ranger, Wi-Fi Ranger basically covers the activation fee. So you save the $30 activation fee and can get Millennicom.
Right. They're now selling basically the Technomadia package.
Yeah, they copy us. They're like, what's the best stuff out there? The Wi-Fi Ranger.
They want that deal. So now you can get
You can get the booster from Wi-Fi Ranger.
You can get the booster, the Millennicom, and their package all in one. You can buy it all in one place now. So it's a lot easier than going to all the separate places. And so if you like our system, they now sell it. We don't get anything for it.
Yeah. But yeah, the Wi-Fi Ranger guys they're semi-full-time travel types. They're really trying to focus on our RVers.
And they're about to. We can't talk about that yet.
About to do what?
They're gonna be a bus.
That's it. We can talk about that. Yeah, the guy who runs Wi-Fi Ranger has gotten the bus bug. Probably because he likes to copy us. And he almost bought a bus last month, but it sold out from under him. So now he's looking for buses too. And he wants to make the Wi-Fi Ranger bus. So someday he'll be showing up at a bus rally in his own bus trying to sell his stuff. But he's a really cool guy. He's the Lone Ranger who's founded Wi-Fi Ranger.
We can answer questions other than about internet too.
Okay.
I know you're partial to Apple products, but tablets. What do you think of the Nexus, the Google Nexus, the ASUS tablet they use, or the Samsung? Because I want to get a tablet. I'm not sure which one I should get.
Well, as you say, we were partial. Like we've got the iPad Mini and the full-size iPad. But I do follow the whole industry because I do consulting for the whole industry, and the Google Nexus is a really great tablet. It's come a long way. Samsung, I would never buy a non-Nexus or a non-Samsung Android of anything because once you start going down from the top of the heap, they churn from decent to garbage really, really quickly in the Android world.
And the biggest in the Android world is each manufacturer has their own build of the Android operating system, and so it's not only the hardware that you have to be concerned with, you also have to make sure it's a manufacturer that has a history of supporting the operating system that they brought over and upgrading your device. So that's the biggest thing to look at is what has their history been with keeping the OS.
No, it's on the Jelly Bean. They go by alphabetical order. So Jelly Bean is the latest Android operating system.
So don't look at just what their current is. Look at what like last year's model was, and if they've brought up, if they're able to operate on what the current is. Just kind of look at what their track record is. That would be a key point for me if I was shopping at for an Android.
But it's hard to go wrong with the Apple stuff too. It's particularly over time.
Yeah, that's true. Price-wise, it's like double.
Yeah, but if you consider how much they hold their resale value. We just sold an old iPhone 4, 2-something years old, that was broken for $200.
Oh yeah. Every single time we upgrade.
It's almost for free.
Because we're developers, we have to have the latest and greatest. Well, okay, no, we're geeks. We have to have the latest and greatest, and we happen to do development. I guess I should word it that way. But every time we get it, because we will usually each have the latest 2 releases, and we just kind of hopscotch.
She's got a 5, I've got a 4S right now.
But he'll get the next
and
release.
I'll get 5S when it comes out next
but
year.
whenever we upgrade, usually I have the old one sold within 2 seconds of announcing that we bought something new, because someone is always wanting the used one, and we usually only lose maybe $50 on an iPad. when we upgrade.
About Apple, they keep upgrading the product and you come out
Exactly.
every 3 months.
No,
It
in the past it had been one new product a year, but now it looks like they're switching to a 6-month cycle.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with the Apple stuff is they've supported so even if you've got, I think it's 4 years old, a 3GS, it still gets the new software for free. It gets the new software updates, whereas up until now, most Androids, you buy it, you never get a software update, and you're...
Right, and the other advantage that if you're into apps at all, is there's more apps on iPhone than there are for Android. And as a developer, we can let you in on a little behind-the-scene look at that. Because you're only, as a developer, when you're only developing for one screen size and one set of hardware, in the Android market, you've got all these different screen resolutions and hardware requirements. It's very, very difficult to produce an app that'll work on all Android devices. And because Apple pushes out the free OS updates regularly and supports back hardware, there's usually about a 95% adoption rate of a new OS on Apple devices within the first month. And it's ridiculously large, which makes it easier for developers to keep their software updated to the latest and greatest and give you the best features. Whereas in Android, the developer is constantly struggling with all these different supported OSs out there, and a lot of their apps have to be feature dumbed down
to support the old
the old one. So you've got people who are getting the newest Jelly Bean who are like, well, I should be able to use this feature, but I can't in this app because the app still has to support ice cream.
Well, actually, up until very recently, it was the newest Android was only on like 2% of phones. It was like a tiny, ridiculously small percentage. Whereas within a month of Apple releasing an OS update, it's on 90% of phones. So it's from the developer standpoint,
you're going to get a lot of the larger companies that are doing the bigger apps, so Facebook and Yelp, and the ones that have big budgets, they can afford to keep up with it. But a lot of your independent developers, they leave Android just because it's so... We won't develop for Android for that reason, just because of that.
We've got an open offer if anybody wants to port our apps to Android. We will help them and support them and split the profits with them. And every time somebody starts the project, they're like, Android's just not worth it. I don't want to do it. So they're like, okay.
And it's not a profitable market either.
But the hardware, particularly if you just want to use it for web browsing, the new Kindles and the Nexus and the latest Samsung tablets, they're actually pretty decent hardware. They're actually pretty nice in a lot of ways. So just don't buy the knockoff cheap Android tablets you'll see. I think a Polaroid Android tablet for $99. It's worth about 9 cents of actual usability. They're horrible. Don't get any of the knockoffs.
But really, go to a store that sells devices. Sorry, Internet, you just fell. And go handle them and just feel what feels right to your hands. Imagine what somebody like to read a book holding it up. How heavy is it? What's the screen resolution? Look at it in different light conditions. Is it going to go dim enough to read at night? Is it going to go bright enough to see outside? Just go see it for usability and just see what feels right to you.
One more question. The average bandwidth of a movie, what is that? Not HD. About how much?
It depends upon the service. Like Netflix, they downscale the quality based upon your connection.
Right.
So there's so many factors that it's really hard to...
So if I had a 4G Intercom connection, what would the Netflix movie approximately?
About a gig an hour.
I've actually got Netflix's time estimates. I think I had that in the prior 4G post.
We go to the 4G one. While he's looking that up, I'll go and field your question.
Yeah, I just put the Wi-Fi range of Go and mobile on my bus.
Cool.
And we got the Technomadia package from Wi-Fi range, so we got the Millennium service and the Wi-Fi. My question is, I need a rooftop antenna because the little antenna they gave me that sits in the window, the little suction cup now.
The antenna that came with which?
With the Wilson Sleep.
Okay.
That I also purchased. Came with a little magnetic antenna that call. And I want to put a rooftop antenna for that cellular service.
We have that one on our roof.
Yeah, we just put that on the roof.
Just the magnetic one?
Yeah.
Well, our roof is metal, so it just stuck.
Yeah, actually, our roof is aluminum. It didn't stick, but I've got it zip tied down.
Okay, we got it zip tied? Okay, yeah.
Do you think that's sufficient?
It works.
Yeah, because I talked to Powerful Signal about this, because I was like thinking, a bigger, heftier antenna.
Yeah.
And for the 4G frequencies, actually, a small antenna, because just the way the frequencies work into the antenna, the small antennas work with 4G. The big antennas don't pick up 4G at all. So at some point, somebody will probably come out with some sort of dual mode antenna that has like small 4G antenna and a big 3G antenna combined. But at the moment, if you want to have just one antenna and not be switching the cables, the small one is the only one that will give you 4G.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking to Texas Wilson Electronics. And they have a bunch of different trucker antennas and rooftop type antennas, but they weren't specific about whether it went to 4G.
Right. So that was the interesting question. I talked to the head guy at Powerful Signal about this, and that was their testing was that the bigger antennas at the moment, none of them work with 4G at all. They don't do, and they have no advantage for 4G. If anything, the signal is worse by having the bigger antenna because the antenna is the wrong wavelength.
So do you think there would be much gain to mounting that little thing up on the roof as opposed to having it in the window?
Particularly if your bus is metal, definitely, because inside, if you're playing inside, you've got to find the right window that is facing the tower.
Right. If the tower is behind you, you've got this big metal structure and your body and everything else blocking it. You put it on the top, you're basically getting an omnidirectional boost at the top, and also height is your friend. Did you find a number?
I have got some numbers here on, let's see. So this was the ABC Player app's time estimate. So the ABC app gives you 3 different quality settings of how much time you could watch television on a 2 gigabyte data plan. So in good quality is 11.5 hours. In better quality, it's 5.5 hours, and in best quality, it was 3.5 hours, 2 gigs. So that's 1.7 hours a gig in best quality. I thought I had Netflix's estimate.
I know I looked at Netflix. It seems like it was for standard. I don't know. I've been measuring it a bit. I think I watch about an hour of Netflix at night on a standard, and I think I burn through about half a gig or so of data. So it's pretty substantial.
You can probably do 10 movies, 15 movies a evening.
No, I don't think. Because,
Not and check your email.
I'll give the Netflix. I know they had a chart. I found it once.
Continue looking that up?
Yeah.
Okay. You had a question?
When you're watching television through the Netflix connection, do you have to watch it on your iPad, or can you?
I have an HDMI cable that goes out to our television, so I'll put it onto the HDMI. So I watch it on the bigger.
What device do you use for that?
It's just an HDMI cable that goes out from the iPad to the TV.
Oh, an HDMI plugs directly into.
Yep.
There's an adapter.
Yeah, it's sold by Apple.
Adapter that
You have an adapter so it can go from iPad
to the TV.
to a projector.
Yeah, it works the same.
To a projector.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yep, as long as it's got an HDMI in.
Well, there's actually other adapters that give you VGA out as well. So if you've got a projector that does VGA, you can get that adapter too. We've got the adapters.
But unless you have an unlimited data iPad, you don't want to be going that route.
Yeah.
So we're kind of an unusual case. There's not many of the planes left out there.
So a 20 gig plan wouldn't give you much.
Well, 20. The biggest thing is video. You have to be very careful. So here's some estimates on some Netflix movies. So in HD, it'll be 3.6 gigs for about roughly for a 2-hour movie. So I'm not sure Netflix will let you default out of HD. If it thinks your connection's fast enough, it will give you HD. So if you're on LTE, it'll give you HD.
And you're going to burn through it quickly. The other thing to keep in mind of was when you're doing video online, especially with LTE, like if you go to YouTube, it starts caching it in the background. So even if you are you get in, like you watch the video for the first minute or two, you said this sucks, or I'm bored, I don't have time for this now. If you close that screen, by the time you close that screen, it's probably cached half of it or more. That's data. Even though you didn't watch it, you burned through that data.
LTE makes it easy to go through data fast.
Oh, the first month we're on LTE, we got a notice from Millennicom. You've already used 30 gig of data. Like, how? We didn't change our surfing habits.
Well,
so.
we did a lot of updates that month.
We did, but it was
we knew we were being excessive, but yeah, we basically try to limit too much long-form video on, even with the 20 gig plan. You could probably get away with watching a little bit of TV and a little bit of stuff, but just be careful. Millennicom, one catch with Millennicom is there's an upside and a downside. Upside is they don't charge an overage. They never charge overage. They won't charge you any extra if you go over the limit.
A little bit.
But if you go hit the limit, but there's no way to check your usage other than you can email them and then wait for them to email you back saying how much have I used so far this month. So there's no capacity gauge. So if you do hit your limit, they will either say sorry, you're being excessive on the network. We have to kick you off and cancel your service or suspend your service for the rest of the month.
Yeah, so I've heard people they'll get up to when they get that message, they've already exceeded it, and they're not necessarily going to be friendly towards it. If you get 35, 40 gigs, if you've accidentally used it, they'll just cut you off.
Right. So yeah, we usually about once a month we email Millennicom just to get assessed. How are we doing?
Especially if they know we've been using it a lot.
Yeah, if we know we're using it a lot, we email them and then try and switch our usage over to AT&T if we're getting too close to the Millennicom limit. But it's really great because you're not going to get caught by surprise, and you're not going to get I went a little bit over and it's an extra $15. It's they're really, really good about having a soft limit. And just to be complete, the Netflix, an SD resolution movie is about 700 megabytes per movie.
2 hours.
Yeah, for a 2-hour movie. 30-minute TV show in HD is about 1.5 gigs, and a 30-minute TV show in SD is about 400 megabytes. So you could probably give yourself an hour, half an hour of TV watching a night as long as you're being careful otherwise. Yeah.
So, any other tech questions? The other thing that we have on our bus, if you were here last year, we did our seminar was on the lithium-ion batteries for our bus. So that's bus electrical systems we have a little bit of experience with. We are open to doing a little impromptu session out at the bus if it's not raining.
The weather is kind of blue out there, so it's good.
So yeah, if anyone wants to see the lithium and has any questions on the lithium,
or wants to see how our office and monitor.
You want to see the office set up or anything like that, we're welcome to go over to the bus and show it off as well.
This kind of tech GPS.
Yeah.
I have a garment. And I use it for my business. I have upgraded their, the map. And here in Florida, you got those new subdivisions.
Right.
And it never come up. Why? Now you get on the phone, and it's trees there.
Right.
I mean, do you recommend I put it on graded because it was a waste of money.
Yeah, we primarily navigate via iPad or phone because they say those maps are updated. I mean, when they make an update to it, if it's reported or whatnot, it's auto there for everything. So they're going to be more real-time updated.
The catch is then you have to have a signal to get your maps. So one thing we like about it on the iPad and iPhone is you kind of get the best of all worlds because you can buy, I'm not sure Garmin has that, but most of the time you can buy the TomTom app and have all the exact same stuff you would have if you had a TomTom GPS with all your maps downloaded on the phone or on your iPad, and it'll work wherever you are, you can have a signal. But then you also have the Google Maps app and the Apple Maps app that are updated every day.
So you can check, we're not out there driving every day and navigating for our business. I mean, we're maybe doing a reposition once or twice a month. So our situation is going to be a lot different than someone depending on GPS for their work or their daily.
You kind of get the best of all worlds with an iPad or an iPhone.
Is that free GPS on the iPad? Is free?
Yeah.
On the iPad, you get Google just has their new apps map out, which is free.
On the iPad, though, it is only the iPad that has cellular in it gets GPS because the GPS and the cellular are on the same chip. You don't have to have a data plan activated. You can have a cellular iPad and never activate it, never pay any data, but you'll get GPS just by having it.
So it work with the Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi only one doesn't have the GPS. It doesn't have tower location, so it will try to triangulate you from the tower.
By Wi-Fi.
But that's going to give you a much wider span of error.
But all the iPhones have GPS.
Just a general question about GPS. I have a diesel, Garmin diesel, which is for truckers and roads. But I have yet to find a decent mapping software that I can use on my
Anyone using the trucker apps?
I looked at the Garmin stuff for that a long time ago, and it was not good, but I don't know if anything.
Magellan just sent us, we're testing their RV.
Their Magellan RVer on GPS. It's supposed to have height restrictions and everything else, but particularly once you get used to a touchscreen, a modern touchscreen device, that it responds instantly when you touch it. You can pan the map around. Using the Magellan, I want to throw it through the windshield.
Please don't. I don't want to replace the windshield.
Yes, because you type, and you're like, it didn't do anything. So you start to type something else, and then the screen changes. It's so slow and sluggish, and you try to move the map, and it's like, and compared to using an iPad or an iPhone, it's just really frustrating to use.
Right. Is anyone using one of these trucker ones? Have any?
Well, I'm using the Garmin.
Yeah, the Garmin's are all the same. So I know they have a software interface.
But their software is absolutely terrible. It's absolutely the worst piece of software I've ever tried to use. So I can't use Basecamp. It's just completely impossible. So I'm hoping there's something else, but Microsoft Streets and Trips doesn't work with the Garmin.
I know.
I just switched to Rand McNally, and it's far better than the Garmin. But I'm not smart enough to figure it all out yet, so I'll switch around.
The iPad has its own GPS. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I got an iPad and I don't know what to do with it.
If you've got this cellular, if you have an AT&T or Verizon iPad with a cellular chip in it, it has GPS. If you've got the Wi-Fi only, it does not.
Say that slower. I got slow here.
Okay, what type of iPad do you have?
Apple iPad.
Yeah.
Okay, does it have AT&T or Verizon service on it?
Verizon.
Okay, yes, you have GPS.
So it has its own GPS?
Yep.
Now that doesn't have to get its signal in through that Verizon hotspot thing she's got?
Yeah, I think you only have GPS as long as you're cellular.
No.
You only have to have the chipset in the device. So all of the cellular versions of the iPad, so the Verizon and the AT&T, if you bought the iPad, AT&T, or Verizon, or iPad, Verizon. Right. The chip that allows you to get online with it
also does GPS.
It also does
it doesn't
GPS.
need to be online.
So if you're in an area with no cellular signal, you still have a GPS?
Yes, but yes.
But the Apple Map software and the Google Map
needs
software
cellular to get
needs a signal. You can go and if it has the maps already downloaded, it will show it to you. But if you buy on the App Store, you buy your TomTom maps, or there's about 7 of them. They're big. They're like a gigabyte. They're big programs because they have the entire map built into them, and they'll work anywhere you go.
Right. So you can get your GPS signal and go into one of the apps with locally cached maps.
So one more time to clarify, I'm a simple guy. If I go like, what is it, MapQuest or something, the GPS on my iPad. Okay. Can I put that on a dashboard as a GPS? Is it consuming mass of data, gigabytes, or whatever those things are?
To download the maps, it is going to consume some data to get the maps.
Yeah, so it depends on the app. So some apps get their maps from the server, and they'll only work when you're connected, and they will burn some data depending on which mapping program, how much data they'll burn to get their maps as you use them. Other programs, they're much bigger programs, but you buy it for $30 in the App Store, or you buy the TomTom app. It has all the maps in it, and it doesn't burn any data to use. It's got all the maps in it wherever you go.
MapQuest and Waze is the only thing I know.
MapQuest and Waze, I'm pretty sure both are server-based. So they only work when you have a connection, and they burn a little bit of data. They're not going to burn a ton of data. We've used Waze. I've read about MapQuest, but I've not tried MapQuest myself. So that's kind of the main. There's 2 types of mapping apps. The ones that have the maps in the in the internet, and then those maps are always up to date because they're updated whenever they fix them. But they only work when you have a connection. And then there's the other kind of apps that download the entire map, just like a regular car GPS would. It has the entire map in the memory file, and that'll work wherever you go. And it doesn't burn any data. It doesn't use the connection
So
at all.
we usually we have multiple of the types that get data, and then we usually keep 1 or 2 with the maps on the device so that when we're out of cellular connectivity,
we're not lost.
We're not completely lost, but we like getting lost.
Yeah.
Do they make an iPhone with a SIM card?
All yeah.
iPhones have SIM cards.
Well, the Verizon, older Verizon ones do, but all current iPhones have SIM cards.
Because we have T-Mobile monthly service at $30 a month, 1,500 minutes.
Yep, they are active.
We never go over the limit, so it's fine for us. Can I get an Apple iPhone?
Yeah. T-Mobile is officially supporting out-of-contract unlocked iPhones. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are officially supporting.
T-Mobile will even help you unlock it. They've got kind of a program to help iPhone people bring iPhones over and use them on their network.
Really?
Yeah.
Great.
So just don't go buy. You'll have to buy one that's out of contract. So
or unlocked,
or an unlocked one.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get you're not going to be able to go buy a $99 iPhone unless you get a really old one. But you're probably going to pay a little more for a used unlocked iPhone than you would for a brand new subsidized iPhone, like if you bought it from AT&T or Verizon, but without the contract. So.
And as I understand it, T-Mobile actually later this year is going to officially start selling the iPhone.
Yeah.
And their plan is they're going to in 2013 they're going to try to start selling phones. They're going to actually switch their entire network to doing this, where they're going to sell the phone for its full price. So an iPhone is going to cost $650 instead of $199, but they'll then give you basically a payment plan towards the phone, and then like AT&T, you're behind the scenes, you're paying something off, but when the phone is paid off, you're still paying the higher plan each month, even if the phone is paid off. Whereas T-Mobile, once you've paid off the phone, your plan will be cheaper. So they're going to try and change the model of how people buy phones. Most people have no idea what their phone actually costs because it's all hidden in the price of their monthly bill.
Right. High taxes that go along with the monthly bill.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of costs.
Yeah, but the government needs them. The government needs them.
Do you know if you can buy a new iPad without purchasing a contract?
Oh yeah, there's no.
iPads never have a contract.
Yeah, you can turn it on and off as you need it. Yeah. So if you're going out for a trip and you're going to want it, you just turn it on. I think it's like $25, $30 a month for a set of data, and then just turn it off, and it's right on the device. So it's really flexible.
Or I can use it with my.
Or your MiFi device. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. I guess we could go now. Walk out to the bus and do some show and tell. We'll show up the liquid. Different pictures.
Okay, Internet, thank you for joining us. We are going to head out to the bus. I'm going to go ahead and end this streaming. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later. Maybe we'll be able to